Hello and welcome back to our channel. Thank you for joining us. Yesterday was a bit of an interesting day and a busy day. So as you know, we've been spending a lot of time working on the garden house, and I kind of have neglected the garden as such because we've been so busy. But now that the exterior structure is almost complete, I'm giving myself a bit more time to get back into the garden to continue on with what I've got planted during the summer. There's not a lot. I did say that this year was going to be all about learning about the plants and what grows here, learning about the climate, learning about the soil and how things work, the different seasons, and that's still all a work in progress. And to help with that, we've been kindly sent some new garden beds by Vegegareview, and they're the sponsor of today's video. We spent yesterday afternoon putting together these beds and dodging some really heavy rain showers. So let's go back and have a look and see what we did yesterday. These are the 3 raised beds that Vegegareview have sent us. So thank you very much to them. We're going to open them up, we're going to have a look. They're all different in their size and their shape, and I think one of them is what they call a 9-in-1 bed, so you can actually choose the formation and the shape that you want from the pieces that you're given. So I've heard lots of different ways of pronouncing this depending on where you come from in the world, but we went with Vegegareview because we thought it's like veggie garden and that works for us. So let's get on and have a look, see what's inside. I'm only going to start by putting one together today just to make sure I know how to do it, but they all go together in exactly the same kind of way. They come in sheets and you get the little bolts to bolt them all together, and then we can see what shapes we can make and how they're going to fit in the space that we would like to use them in. Okay, so let's see what we've got inside. It's heavy. Yeah. Oh. We've got 6 metal panels, all pre-drilled, all with a film coating on to protect the paint. We've got the product user manual, which gives you ideas on how to make the shapes and put it together. I'm assuming without looking that that's all the bolts to put it together. And this is the rubber that goes around the top. Not that there's a sharp edge on there, but literally just to protect you even more once it's all put together. So that looks really good. And you even get a pair of gloves to protect your hands while you're fixing it all into your desired shape. So that's really good. And it feels very good quality. It is heavy. I've got it sitting on the box that it came in so it doesn't get scratched on the floor, and I'm going to give it a go, try and put it together. Inside the bag is another bag, and we've got little bolts, the nuts, washers and the tool to tighten them all up with, so that's really good too. And I've got my nice white gloves on, they're just like a little cotton glove, very nice. And 42 sets with 2 pieces in each set, it says. So let's give this a go. It has got this film on, probably to protect it so that the panels didn't rub on each other while they were in transit. And the manual says to remove those first of all before you start putting it together, probably because it will be impossible to get it off afterwards. Okay, Oh, that's very satisfying. So individually each panel is quite light, but obviously the 6 of them together are quite weighty. So I'll get the film taken off the rest of them and then we'll start putting it together. Can I hold it down? Yeah. I've opened up the bag with all of the small parts in, and we've got a bolt, a nut and a washer for each of the holes. And they've even given us the tool that fits the bolt, which is really useful. I have got my own screwdriver purely because the end of the bolt has got a little screwdriver section there, and that will stop it going round and round when we tighten it up. Let's just try putting it together. I think you possibly need more than 2 hands to put this together, or at least for the first few pieces, because once I've got 2 or 3 in, then it will start to stand by itself. So I'm going to ask my beautiful assistant to come in and hold this while we put it together. So if you just hold it so I can put the things in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, flat end in.
Yeah, much easier with the screwdriver, just stops it going round and round. Now that I've got the top one in and the bottom one, it's sort of standing on its own, so now it's much easier because all of the holes, the pre-drilled holes, are all lined up, and that's making it easier to put it together. So we just have our bolt, our washer, and a nut. Our little given tool, and then I'm using the head of the screwdriver to stop it going round so I can tighten it up. There we go, and hand tight. It's very good. So I'll finish doing all of those. The top is folded, so it's very smooth, and it has the special paint on that stops it from rusting and also helps to bounce off the sun's rays so that the heat doesn't penetrate into the metal bed. What we've found works well is having 2 people, one on the outside, one on the inside, with this one being a tall bed, and then you can work much more swiftly. So it's all together now, and we've put all of the nuts, bolts, washers, everything all fastened in tight. We did struggle just ever so slightly with this last seam, just because it wanted to sort of open up a little bit and we couldn't get the holes lined up.
I think just because it's made so well,
it's very sturdy, isn't it?
Yeah. So there was no play in it.
So it took 2 of us, was what I was going to say. It took 2 of us, one to hold it in place while the second person lined it up and got the first few bolts in, didn't
That's
it?
Yeah, exactly.
And then once we'd done that, it was okay.
Yeah.
But I'm really pleased with how this has turned out. As you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts from the bottom to the top on each panel, and it has worked really well. Now we've got the rubber that goes across the top here, just where these edges meet, because they're the only sharp parts, and that will finish it off very nicely. So this is warmed up nicely in the sun, being black, so it's nice and flexible now. It's got like 2 small teeth on either side, so that's going to go down on and grip onto the edge of the metal here and make a good finish. Oh yeah, and nice and tight where there's 2 pieces of metal where we've overlapped them, so that's a good, but the rest of it is very easy to manipulate on, so that's really good. Also, from an aesthetic point of view, I like the black trim finish on the cream bed. That's nice. Just need to trim this piece, but luckily they've given extra, so there was no worries about running out. So this plastic edging is actually reinforced with little metal hoops, so it's going to withstand a lot of wear and tear and a lot of moving around. It's not just sort of plastic or rubber, so that's really good as well. I've cut the edge, I've made a nice neat finish, and I'm really pleased with how that's turned out. Didn't take too long to put together, and with 2 of us we'll be able to carry it quite easily and put it into place where we want it. This has actually turned out much bigger than I thought it was going to. So rather than putting it into place now, I think what we'll do is I'm going to put together the 2 other beds that Vegegar have sent us, and then I'll be able to make a much better decision as to where I want to place these before we start filling them, because once they're full they ain't going anywhere. It's the next day and I've had time to think about the way that I would like these to be used and where I would like to place them, and I'm thinking that I'm going to change the arrangement of this shorter bed. So what I'm able to do is take out the end panel on each short end, join the corners together and put those extra panels in the sides to make a longer, narrower bed. And that's what I'm going to do. That's the real good flexibility about this kind of system. You can change it to suit your need. Thank you. Thank you, love. Just short. That's really good. So I've reused the box that it came in to put down as a base. Bit of weed suppression, bit of filling in the bed, and I'll start thinking about the other 2 and where I would like those now. I think I'm happy with this circular one being here on the corner of sort of this plateau. It has a natural curve coming round, and then behind and below us is the slope and the small retaining wall that we built several months back. So it seems to sit really nicely, a circular one on this curve. So what I'm doing at the moment is pulling out all of the weeds that I've allowed to grow, and I'm just filling the bed with them. I know that means it's full of seed and everything, but that far down I don't think it's going to have an impact. I think with the lack of light and everything, they will probably just die down. Once I've cleared all the weeds, I'll put cardboard on top, and then further up the hillside I still have lots of small twigs and soil that we have in our spoil heap up there. So this is sort of kind of starting a hugelkultur type of system in the bottom of this container.
See?
We're continuing to fill up this first round bed again. We did stop for yesterday afternoon because we had a fabulous thunderstorm. I got a bit of footage of it, so Darren might be able to intersperse that in here because it was pretty stunning. So what we've done is the small wooden bed that used to be here that we were trying to grow carrots in, but they sort of failed. When we moved it, it literally fell apart because it was rotten wood, and that's exactly what we need in here to help with our hugel type culture. So just to give you an idea, see, it was completely rotten. It's soaking up all the water, and that's what keeps these beds moist. And you can see all the white mycelium already growing and forming a network on there, and that's what's going to release all the nutrients out of the wood into the soil eventually. It'll take a while, a good while. I've got lots of spoil from further up the garden that I want to bring down to help fill this up, and I'm going to get some of that now because there's a lot to fill up. It's going to take quite a few barrow loads to fill up our beds, but we're happy to get on with that. I call it a spoil heap, but you can see how lovely the soil is that's here. Basically because when the land was cleared, all of the broom and the weeds that we didn't want were all scooped and pushed away. That meant that the topsoil was also scooped and pushed away into piles. Everything's starting to break down, and it's going to turn into more of this lovely soil. So I might call it a spoil heap, but it's a really good resource here for us. You probably have a few questions while we've been putting these together and showing you what we're doing. The main one that springs to mind is we have a lot of intense sunshine and heat here in central Portugal, and we're putting together some metal beds, and lots of people will go, they'll never work. You're going to boil the soil, fry your vegetables, they'll never work. But the panels are made in layers, and one of those layers on the outside is a coating that actually reflects the heat from the sun and keeps the inside temperature cooler than the outside. And we've tested this. We've touched our metal roof, which at the moment is pretty hot and you don't really want to be touching it, yet the sides of the beds are pretty cool and they're keeping, or they will keep, what's inside cool too. Then they're made with steel, so they're very rigid, and they also have an anti-rust coating, so they're going to look really good. And they're saying that they will last for 20 plus years, which is a lot longer than wood would, even if it's treated. And then when you're treating wood, you're also adding chemicals into your food beds, where these don't have any preservative that needs to be added, so you're not adding any chemicals into your food chain. And for those reasons, I really like them. The other thought I had was with the long rectangular bed, you're probably thinking that's going to flex and move, but actually it came with 4 strengthening rods, so we've put those in, 2 at the bottom, 2 at the top, and they have made a very, very solid structure, so we're really happy with those. I'm now going to get on and keep filling these beds. There's all kinds in here. Sticks and twigs that are breaking down, they're going to the bottom. We have some of the contents of the bed that the wooden bed that we moved away. We're going to put that in. It had some compost in and some spent mushroom compost and even a few failed carrots. They'll all go in, they'll all break down, and soon I'll be able to plant into those beds and get them producing food for us throughout the year. Well, I've got a lot of work ahead of me. It's probably going to take me weeks to fill these up. You see that you can fill them with absolutely anything. You don't have to buy lots of expensive compost, although I have got a couple of bags just to help boost things along, should it be needed. Well, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to say a huge thank you to Vegegar for supplying these beds to me, for letting me review them. I love how easy they are to put together. I look how aesthetically pleasing they are to me. And I'm looking forward to what I'm going to be able to eat and look at. Sometimes I do plant flowers. But that's it for today. Thank you very much for spending time with me. There is a referral link in the description of the video, should you think about buying some of these for yourselves or as a gift for somebody else. And I think the shipping is always free when I've looked on the website. So take care, and I will see you on the next one. Bye everyone. Thank you. 2, 3. Good.
Smells like agriculture.
It does. Wasn't meant to be warm today, wasn't meant to be sunny, it was meant to be raining all day. And I was ready for working in the rain. Wasn't ready for working in the heat and the sun again. But it's been a job worth doing, ready to plant into.
Yeah.
Well done, love.